The Labor Day weekend getaway is on. This is a live look at Philadelphia International Airport today. A record 17 million people are projected to hit the skies and the roads this Labor Day weekend.
And if you're traveling by car, President Trump's energy agenda is having a positive impact on your wallet with gas prices at the lowest point in 4 years.
Peter Doocy is live at the White House with the very latest details. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, and we see this every summer holiday weekend. White Houses have to look at the gas prices and decide, are they at a point that we want to brag about them, or are they at a point that we have to blame somebody else for them being too high? And this White House has looked at today's gas prices. They have decided they want to brag about them.
On another matter, as Americans make their Labor Day weekend travel plans, they will be able to enjoy 5-year low gas prices thanks to President Trump fully unleashing American energy dominance. President Trump ended Joe Biden's Green New Scam policies and is delivering on his promise to make America affordable again. These savings at the pump are giving everyday American families more room in their budgets at the end of each month, which is the exact opposite of what we saw under the previous administration.
And we made this graphic to show the trajectory downward the last 4 Labor Days. You started out at $3.79 a gallon, then down to $3.77, $3.29, and $3.20 today. And the Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, who was handpicked by President Trump to implement very specific policies, says that those policies are the reason for the decline.
President Trump campaigned on that, right? I want Americans to pay less, and I want them to have more job opportunities. Kind of hard to be opposed to that, but he's actually pursued policies and messaging to deliver just that. Produce more energy in America, you get lower prices, you get more jobs. That's our platform.
Officials here at the White House want gas prices to be even lower. They think those policies Secretary Wright was talking about can get them lower, but for the time being, they're very happy with where things are. Back to you.
Very impressive, Peter. You've got both the sprinklers and the leaf blowers going all at the same time.
And with these gas prices, they can run that leaf blower all day.
Well, tell that leaf blower it's Labor Day weekend and he can hit the road, take his family out there.
He'll have Monday off.
Are you deputizing me as a Park Service manager to go and tell this guy?
Indeed. You could do everything else, so I'm sure you could do that, Peter. Thank you so much.
If he was a little closer, I would tell him to go.
Good. All right. Thanks, Peter.
But it is remarkable to think about, everything that President Trump is juggling right now winds up depending upon the success of these economic plans.
Well, and I think it hallmarks how there are so many policies and regulations being broken in a great way that leads to us experiencing what true economic prosperity looks like. We're feeling it in our wallets. We're seeing it at the pump. We're seeing it affected in so many different ways. And the vice president weighed in on how the administration bringing jobs back to the country, he says, is like a new renaissance. Watch.
Now the family is feeling financial stress that it wasn't 10 years ago, wasn't 20 years ago. So sometimes families dissolve in the wake of that. That stress affects the kids. Some of those people turn to drugs, and all this stuff is very connected. And if you look at what the president is trying to do, it's also all connected. And I think that it's why it's leading to this very early days of an American renaissance, because you bring jobs back, you give people hope, optimism, you give them a little extra money to spend in their pocket. Maybe some of those people go and start a business, but then simultaneously, we're focused on the southern border because we don't want this poison to come into these communities and destroy people from fentanyl and other related problems.
So, clearly, that's the larger picture so that Americans understand, which has obviously led to a lot of winning. We often hear, you're tired of to come up with a rebut, and they kicked off their annual summer DNC meeting in Minneapolis with a land acknowledgement from the Minneapolis DFL treasurer, who described herself as an indigenous queer woman wanting to pretty much check a box. Listen to how they kick things off.
Let's talk about the land for a second. The DNC acknowledges and honors the Dakota Oyate, the Dakota people, who are the original stewards of the lands and waters of Minneapolis. As Democrats, I ask of every one of you to not allow land acknowledgements like these to simply be the checking of a box. Be curious, ask questions.
So not clear exactly what action it is that she wants him to take, but it's interesting that the Democrats that are just facing a dearth of ideas that are fresh to combat the Republicans to try and win elections with next year's midterms fast approaching, and yet she's leading with the, hey, we got to stop everything before we get started. Our country suppresses indigenous people. So let's all get on that same page. James Carville, who has attacked the Democrats using crazy language and said that they need to get focused on issues, just blasted this acknowledgement. Watch.
Why are you bringing this up in an election? This is an election, and the DNC is not the place to discuss this. Understand this. The DNC does not exist to right wrongs. It doesn't exist to acknowledge the more unpleasant parts of history. It doesn't exist to make people feel good. It exists, get this through your head, to win elections. Now, do you think that is going to help us win elections by talking about land theft from the Dakotas? We're not. What is Ken Martin doing that? You don't have but one job, Ken. It's to win. You're supposed to try to win elections.
And of course, all this comes down as you have a president who is embracing, first of all, has stolen a lot of issues from the Democrat Party, but is embracing this common sense agenda, going, completely setting aside all of the ideological fights that Democrats and Republicans have fought over the last couple of years and focusing on things that work. And that's why if the economy doesn't work, Donald Trump is going to be a failure. But if the economy works and he has defied all of the sort of written rules of politics to push his vision for the economy forward, and it appears to be succeeding, if he succeeds, Democrats are not going to be able to run for any office. It's going to be kind of incredible.
James Carville is absolutely right. But also, I want to point out that the virtue signaling with the land, it's like these... Someone gets in their head and some type of virtue signaling to do within the Democratic Party, and all of a sudden it spreads like wildfire. And it is absolutely not based on substance, because if it was, being curious and asking questions would not be the action item that you actually attach to that. Having lived in Seattle for so long, there are many restaurants, businesses that say on the 1st of every month, they say we acknowledge whose land this is. They name the tribe, and then they say, and we donate our 10% of our profits as rent. That's something where you're putting your money where your mouth is. And that's something that should be, I would say, separate from in this election season, these Democrats not getting the forest for the trees. Because that's something, by the way, if they want to galvanize that, then go ahead. But if they actually think that's going to get them any closer to winning back seats, they're delusional.
Well, and, the misguided approach that they're taking here forgets the big picture, as you mentioned, seeing the, missing the forest for the trees. Yeah. But look, the land acknowledgement conversation doesn't affect real Americans. It doesn't affect them pumping their gas today. It doesn't affect them feeling more secure in their communities as the administration tries to crack down on crime. It doesn't affect the border that was at a historic level of unprecedented chaos, now at its safest it's ever been. And so I think Carville's frustration is well-deserved, because he's just upset that literally they're not talking about anything that Americans care about, relate to, or are impacted by.
Usually the Raging Cajun is right when it comes to political tactics. And if Democrats find themselves not listening to him, then they're probably in trouble.
Yeah, they are.
I think they're in trouble anyway.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.